lucky to have Jim Manis, who's the founder of the Mobile Giving Foundation, and Joe Manis, and yes, Joe is Jim's son, so you can guess that, but that's true. Both of them are leaders in the mobile giving industry, and they'll tell you all about mobile giving in just a minute. So a little bit about us. I started this company, Engage by Cell, about 15 years or so ago. We provide text messaging solutions and training and safety and workforce development, all kinds of things that involve a mobile phone. And in the mobile giving world, we have thermometers that can interface with the mobile giving and text messaging. About 10 or 11 years ago, I remember seeing an ad, Jim, I'm going to tell a personal story, for, I think it was Red Cross, where you could text in and make a donation. And I'll ask in the chat window, how many of you have seen ads on TV or heard them? Take out your phone and make a one-time donation. Go ahead and let us know if you've seen those ads. I saw that ad and I took out my phone. I think it was a $5 or $10 donation. Took out my phone, texted, made a $5 donation. And I said to my wife, this is like the most unbelievable game changer technology that is going to take over and be such a gateway to raising money for charities. And in fact, it has. And that's why we're holding this webinar today, is because I think a lot of changes have happened in the world of mobile giving. I, as the provider of the service and the conduit for all of you, and Jim and Joe as the founders of the Mobile Giving Foundation, also still believe this is a tool that every 501c3 in the United States and Canada should use. There have been so many improvements over the years that I think many of you just don't know about, and that's why we wanted to do this showcase today, to light a spark to say, for your fall giving campaigns, you've got to have a mobile giving application or channel. Some of the organizations that use us are big organizations like Goodwill and Dana-Farber and the Smithsonian, and there's plenty of little tiny food banks or YMCAs or CASAs around the country. So that's my introduction. We're the provider, and then the Mobile Giving Foundation actually is at the heart of this. We have Jim Manis as the founder. Jim, when you were a technology guy for many years and then came up with this concept, what was the problem you were trying to solve, and is that still a viable problem?
Thanks, Dave, and thank you. I know this is conversational, but I want to just acknowledge the fact that you've been a terrific partner of MGF over the years. We've loved working with you and the different iterations of Engage by Cell. And for those who don't know, when we first got together between MGF and Engage by Cell, they brought in a kind of a unique profile of organizations from museums, because Dave was providing the phone service. When you walked in and were looking for tours of exhibits, Dave's company provided that through their cell site. So it's been a great relationship, and I'm glad to see still, of course, Smithsonian's continued involvement. Yeah, we were, so thank you. We began, my history has been one of startups, creating third-party markets, if you will, for brands and customers using phones to transact. Basically, think of this as pre-iPhone, and when kind of towards 2007, when we started seeing large-scale disasters, and we had the technical capacity to help respond to those disasters, we were trying to fix two issues. One was, how can we enable a quick impulse response to an event that was taking place that struck kind of the emotional response to give and help out, right? We wanted something that that was speedy and trusted in the marketplace. And secondly, we wanted something that frankly helped expand the base of younger givers. So the text at that time was reasonably new. The ability to text, as you know today, came into the marketplace in 2002, 2003. You started seeing market applications in 2004. MGF began really in 2008. So that's kind of the time frame for that. And while our initial target was in expanding the base of younger givers, that's now increased. That's basically irrelevant because everybody uses text. So our notion, if you will, was really to establish a hub, if you will, to provide mobile solutions for social good. We leverage the power and the reach of mobile technology. Both of those are critically important. Power is about response, reach is about the audience. And there's a huge, massive audience of mobile users in any country, but certainly across the United States. And we wanted to ensure that qualified nonprofits had the capacity to use the channel, and that corporate brands had the ability to sponsor charities in order to encourage their customer base to support those same charities. So we're about enabling charities to acquire new donors. We're about enabling charities to engage those donors. We're about encouraging charities to use mobile to increase awareness and, of course, to raise funds. So those are important for you to think through in terms of establishing your own objectives with mobile. So acquisition, engagement, mission awareness, transaction, or raising funds, right? So we really kind of give that donor the ability to respond to an impulse and really to highlight, if you will, the capabilities of the wireless sector. So we work closely with every wireless operator out there to bring this service to the marketplace. And that still holds true today, Dave.
Yeah. And that's a good point to make, Jim. Joe, I think, will go into more detail about the specifics, but every carrier basically, for the most part, is part of this program. So you as a charity do not have to go have any relationship with AT&T and T-Mobile. That is all provided to you, along with a lot more from the Mobile Giving Foundation.
Yeah, let me mention, so we're structured as a 501c3. We operate as kind of a donor advised fund. So we provide those same services that you wouldn't have within the wireless world and the technical requirements to operate within the wireless world, combined with the regulatory world and the charity space. We bring those two together and we manage that process. So it's been a productive relationship, I think, for us and the charitable organizations. Mm-hmm. And of course, we protect brands as a part of that, right? Not just the wireless operators, but your brand. So when it comes to mobile engagement, we operate under principles of trust and accountability. Our own board is led by the head of the BBB Wise Giving Alliance. We take trust and accountability seriously. So.
Right. Yeah. Anything on that other slide, and if you go back, that you want to cover, or did you cover that, Jim, in the?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
So again, right. we work in partnership with the wireless operators. We're embedded in their messaging and their billing systems. And we have a sister organization with whom we share technology and personnel that operates across all of Canada as well.
Jim, from the very first time I met you, you always used the phrase, which we see on this slide, mobile as a channel. And I think it's just so relevant even today, that you may be doing direct mail and email marketing, but you've got to think about mobile as a huge pipe into your donation funnel. So maybe you can kind of expand on that, Jim.
Well, yeah. So if you think of if you think of various channels that organizations use to reach their donors, so you just mentioned a few, right? So direct mail, online, TV, radio, social media. And if you see those as kind of pillars, mobile cuts across all of them, right? So mobile becomes a foundational element to blend them all together. So that's part of the power, if you will, of mobile in this case, is it is a kind of a foundational element to an omni-channel engagement. It's important to do that, particularly today when we've seen individual charitable giving decline. So every one of us on this call, including us, saw the decline in individual giving that really was pronounced in 2022. It began in 2021. It's kind of a pandemic issue that came out. Giving overall is down, corporate giving is up, individual giving is significantly down. So we're kind of obligated to figure out how to reverse that trend, how to bring new donors in, and we think that mobile is core to that process.
Yeah. Well, and mobile, not just mobile giving, but text messaging with links to videos about the charity and every form of mobile. So
yeah, we have a bullet there that text messages have a 90% open rate. That's true overall, but if you take a look at those text messages that are aligned with short codes, which is what we use in terms of a normal engagement with an application that points to your particular charity, the open rate on those they go up to 98%.
Right.
So that's a part of the effectiveness of the channel itself, is not just the ability to reach 360 million subscribers plus or minus in the United States, but that you're reaching them through a medium that people look at. And of course, the question is, will they respond? And that's going to be based on a perceived relationship between you and the charity. In this particular case, your response rate is going to be reasonably high because this is a permission-based form of engagement. So you're not just simply pushing a message to unknown individuals. You're creating a strategy to encourage people to opt into a particular request to support your organization. So that permission-based provides kind of the underlying trust and transparency to what you're doing, what your goals are, and reinforces the relationship between your organization and the donor.
Right. Well, Anna, let's get into the actual specifics. Joe, there's a lot that you could talk about regarding what this means, but if you could boil down what a mobile giving transaction is, the elevator pitch, what is mobile giving in terms of how it works?
Yeah, so hey everybody, my name is Joe Manus. I'm the Director of Charity and Partner Operations here at the Mobile Giving Foundation. Like Jim mentioned, we are a 501c3 that has those messaging and billing capabilities with all the U.S. wireless network operators here in the U.S. and in Canada through MGF Canada, which gives us the ability to embed that donation into the text message. So, and through every, donation, we offer price points from 5 to 50, and that's in $5 increments for the $1 price point. And the standard donation, the donor will text a keyword to one of our 5 short codes, our shared short codes that we lease on behalf of all the charities, and then offer to use for text to give. And that donation then gets put onto the donor's phone bill. And then we work very closely with the carriers to, they collect 100% of those funds. They remit 100% of those funds out to MGF, where we remit 100% of those funds back out to all the beneficiary charities on the platform. So we offer those one-time price points of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, and 50. and then monthly giving at 5, 10, 25, and 50. Now, there's our standard donation process is a double opt-in, right? So they send the keyword, we respond asking them to confirm, they respond with yes, and that donation then gets put onto their phone bill. Now, there's extra value-added features that we use to reach and engage new followers and increase awareness of your guys' organizational mission. And that comes on the back end of the donation process, where you can put in a custom message following the thank you message that we return, where you can push them, wherever you see the value most, whether that's to your social media pages, whether that's to a link on your website to collect more donor data. We can also push the monthly recurring, the monthly giving message, which opts that donor into giving 5, 10, or 25, or 50 every single month. And that conversion rate we've seen there is 10% on the monthly giving, and it has a 58-month recurring average on that gift. So the monthly giving has turned into something that's very impactful for charities looking for sustainable donors and sustainable gifts. And Text to Give can promote it alongside all your existing awareness and marketing channels that you have today, like Jim mentioned, with web, radio, TV, event-based, direct mail if you're still doing that, and then any unique resource that that the charity may have to at their fingertips that they can use to get more eyeballs on the call to action itself.
Joe, just to put an exclamation point on what you just said, that means that somebody could see a call to action or hear a call to action at a stadium or an event or in social media, take out their phone, text in a keyword, get back, "Are you sure?" You reply, "Yes." And I might have just donated in 10 seconds, $25, possibly, in your example. And if I choose to make that a monthly donation, that $2,500 is going to turn into a couple $1,000 over the 58 months. So in just an 8 or 10 second experience, you've now got at least with a 10% conversion rate, you've got your $25, and then 10% are lifelong members donating $25 every month. It's one of the most frictionless, if that's a good word, ways to build an audience of people that perhaps don't really know that much about you, but are intrigued. And if they do go the monthly route, the dynamics on that are just so fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a very powerful, response mechanism to support, fundraising, donor acquisition, engagement, all that. And also, just with the massive addressable audience that text messages gives you to all the people who have phones, as we all know.
Yep. Well, let's do an example. I think that's coming up.
Yeah,
Joe,
yeah. Actually, so this is where I was going to turn to. So any of you charities now, if you would like to just see an example of the donor experience, you can text the word demo to our short code 20222. You'll see the same experience there. That's on the screen there, but it's a zero charge. It's just a demo. There is also that QR code there where we can provide to charities out there on top of the keyword and short code combination, where if you place that anywhere that you guys need, donors can scan that. It pre-populates the keyword for them to simply press send. So those are a couple ways. First, that you can try it out, and then another example of how we can offer additional value adds to increase your campaign effectiveness.
For those of you on the call, go ahead and make a chat. Let us know what you get back. So go ahead and put in the chat window some of the the verbiage that you get, because it's powerful to try this, and it won't cost you anything. And like you say, Joe, once you complete the kind of the fake donation, there is a way that you can learn more by either seeing an email or having a link that goes to my charity
Yeah.
website. So donor information is something that everybody on the call wants. And this is one way to now solve that problem of donor information.
Yeah, so one of the ways that last message that you'll receive in that example, that's fully, the charity can customize that however they want, right? So they can use that message to, push the donor or collect or opt them into monthly giving. So there's a lot of flexibility that you have there to kind of, find the way that works best and push donors to where you want them to go for any unique charity.
Many of our clients, Joe, as you probably know, have wanted to know the donor information, and this is one way to collect that. So it's one more of the many enhancements that have come down the pipe that you guys have introduced, along with kind of the monthly recurring, and it's just so powerful.
Yeah, so donor data, I mean, many charities who I've spoken with, I mean, of course, we know that's important. And this is one of the ways that you can, accomplish that, right? So we can also, or there's also the ability, through our partnership here, where you can put a widget in there as well, where you can collect the donor's data upon their submission, or you can just put a link to your nonprofit's website if you guys already have a contact page where you can collect it.
So some of you have replied, yes, you checked it out. In the chat window, let us know, what did you think of that? Was it fast? Was it something that you think your donors would like? What kinds of situations do you think, Mary Bowman, I see your note there. What are some of the situations that you folks can imagine in your nonprofit this being applicable for? Be kind of interesting to get a discussion going on things coming up this fall that you think this might be helpful for. And while you're adding those comments, Joe, do you want to take Maureen's question?
Oh, what about donors that want to use Venmo or credit card versus the phone carrier? Yeah, so text to give is a carrier-based billing solution. There's also different terminology out there like text to pledge, text to donate. That is also the ability where you can just have a keyword in a short code and send them a message with a link to donate via credit card. Those are two different approaches to mobile giving in general, whether you're looking for them to, and they both play their own role, where if a credit card link is presented to you, they can click on that and fill out the information and donate that way. Or a carrier build solution where they just respond, yes, that gets put onto their phone bill, like we said. Now we also do convert. So if there's any issue with the donation transaction itself through text to give, we'll instantly convert that donation into a text to pledge, right? So if there's any issues there, we instantly convert that to a message where we're driving the donors to your website in the same similar fashion you would do in a text to pledge campaign to donate online.
Let me comment on that if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
So what Joe just described, it does two things. One, it shows the flexibility to accommodate the donor's desire to contribute in a variety of ways, right? So the donor wants flexibility. Hey, I don't want to add this to my phone bill. I want to do a credit card, etc. But most importantly, what Joe just described is a lead strategy that says, if you're asking a donor for engagement, here, ask them for a small, and then to Dave's words, frictionless way to engage, right? So ask them for a $5 gift. If in that process, the donor, or give them start with a small ask for carrier bill gift, and then you can move them to Venmo. You can move them to other billing mechanisms per your desire and per the donor's desire. So it's not an either or situation. It's lead with the biggest impact, which is carrier billing. And if the donor wants to convert to a credit card, provide that option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Two interesting questions, and keep the questions coming, you folks. This is great. Stacy has an interesting question, and Maureen has one. So Joe and Jim, feel free to take whichever one you want.
I see Maureen. So Maureen, depends upon where your international members are located, but donation rules and regulations of charities obviously varies from country to country. So what you're asking about is not unique to mobile. It's kind of across the board, with the exception, of course, from a credit card piece. But we can support a dual engagement in the US and in Canada. Contributions through Canadian wireless operators will be processed by Mobile Giving Foundation Canada. But you're right, today there's not a broad reach across a lot of countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have helped create places like us in other countries, like, for example, UK, Australia, basically Commonwealth countries, if you will. But there'll need to be a different solution for that. And you can use the QR code as a part of that solution.
Yeah. There's a question from, I think it was Stacy that was asking about, do we need everybody's numbers so we can text them? And Joe, maybe you can talk about what's the typical way a potential donor engages. They're not receiving a text, they are initiating it.
Yeah. So you don't need to obtain everyone's cell phone number. As the charity, you would have some sort of strategic plan to integrate the mobile giving or text to give functionality into your fundraising efforts. And then when you go and when you go and execute that strategy, regardless of how you get that campaign call to action out there, the donor will see the call to action as, text this keyword to the short code. And when they do that, that triggers the donation process. And again, we're a comprehensive service in the sense of, pre-qualifying charities for accessing the platform, managing campaign donations and operations, the remittance of the funds raised, and then we have real-time online reporting. So every time someone texts in, you can see that in real time what that status of the donation is in, whether it's accepted or incomplete, meaning they text the keyword and they have not yet responded to confirm. But the point is that you have real-time reporting to that as well to see that in live time.
Let me add one thing to that too. So when the donor donates, right, back to, I think, was it Stacy that asked the question? With that donation comes a telephone number of the person who donated. And our message flow, as Joe mentioned, is flexible where, so just by virtue of getting a phone number in the regulatory world of wireless doesn't mean that you have the ability to send unwanted messages to that number. So what we've structured is a way to take the donation and then asking permission for you to then communicate to them as a charity. And that permission, and with that permission gives you the ability to build databases of phone numbers that you're going to use to, for ongoing messaging and communication at your initiation. So that's part of the acquisition power of mobile, and it's part of the engagement flexibility that you'll have. It's also part, by the way, of the sustainability of mobile giving overall in the marketplace, because what it does is it ensures that communications are permission-based and wanted as opposed to spam. So what you don't want is to have your charity brand associated with spam. This does not do that.
Right. Joe, Daniela has an interesting question. How do their donors get receipts or acknowledgements, and how do you cultivate the relationship? So maybe you and Jim could kind of tackle the whole receipting and then the ongoing
It looks
building
like your
relationship.
question pertains to obtaining donor contact data. So the way that through a standard text to give donation, you don't automatically receive that donor's data, right? So we have the ability to on the back end of the donation, you can either we can create a widget for you. Let me back. So there's a couple of different ways that you can collect information, right? And it depends on how much information you want. There's ability to create widgets, right? What we call widgets, where there's up to 10 different data fields, but obviously you keep that more focused to 3 or 4 different data fields where the donor post the donation. We would put the link in the same example here, where you could say, we'd love to stay in touch and send you a thank you message. Please let us know who you are here, right? And then they can go fill out that form, submit it, and that's the way that you would be able to, acknowledge that donor, but it would only be if they submit their information directly. In regards to tax receipts, we are responsible for issuing all the donors' tax receipts, and that is done so on our website at mobilegiving.org. Where they can go and obtain a tax receipt as they wish through our tool.
What happens, Daniela, is once you donate, you'll get a thank you so much for donating to XYZ. And there will be a little bit.ly link that takes you to the Mobile Giving Foundation. And when you go there, there's a place on the site where you can enter your phone number and it'll look up all your donations and then you can print. So should you have donors that want a tax receipt, you don't have to worry about it. That can come from the Mobile Giving Foundation. And after they donate, they also get a thank you text as well. And what Joe was saying is if you want to build that relationship, they can also receive a final text that says whatever you really wanted to say, including a link to a form or a comment or a sign up page on your own site. And then off they go, and you can ask them whatever you like and get their information.
Yeah, and if the information is more isolate, like if you're looking for their name or their email, if like one thing, we do have a feature called trailing text, right? And that allows charities to ask and collect for donor data after the keyword, right? So you could say, text give followed by your email address to a short code to make a $10 donation. Nice. And then you could capture that email address and all the names on the initial transaction. And that's a way of also getting emails or one focused data point.
Right. And let's look at a few of the examples. Now, there are organizations, national.
Real sorry, Dave, real quick before we jump to the next slide.
Yeah.
On that one and another feature to just make it text to give more fun is something that we've added recently is the emoji text to give, right? So we have the ability to create any emojis as the keyword itself. And we've set up the heart emoji to 20222. So as a demo, the same demo as the original, just with an emoji, but that's also an option for your charity if you have that type of campaign where it can be more interactive and fun with an emoji.
Yeah, especially in social media, it's just so fun. Text back a heart, text back a cross or whatever it happens to be. It's outstanding.
Yeah.
Jim, maybe you can take Maureen's question about the cadence of payments. That's always a good thing to review again. I think you mentioned it, but maybe
Yeah.
you could expand. Where does the money flow and the fees and all of that? And
Yeah.
we have a slide on fees at, in 2 slides. A Maureen will show you too.
We'll let you go to the fee slide, but the cadence, a good question, a good use of. I like the word cadence in this case.
Yeah.
So there is an aspect of that. So on the carrier bill donations, you will have visibilities to successful donations through the reporting tool virtually immediately. So you'll know what to expect on any given campaign.
And
The
you'll be
actual-
logging into the Engage by Sell site. My team will show you how to log in and see every transaction real time. Okay.
So Dave's reporting site pulls that real-time data from MGF, which does the technical billing and the messaging piece, right? So what you're going to see though from a dollar flow, so information is virtually immediate. Dollar flow follows the billing cycle at the wireless operator that your donor is a customer of, right? So you should think of dollar flows between given a 60 to 90-day period to work through the process. So depending upon when the billing cycle is of the donor who made the donation, it could be 30 days out before they get a bill from their carrier. That donor pays the bill, the carrier collects the money, and the carrier then remits all funds to MGF. MGF turns around and remits funds to the beneficiary charity. So the cycle, if you will, comes at no cost from the wireless operators. They charge nothing for messaging or for giving us access to their billing systems. The delay or the time frame, I wouldn't really view it as a delay in this case. The time frame for processing those funds is about a 60 to 90-day period on average. It can go shorter, typically wouldn't go longer, but that's generally the reach, and you'll know what dollars you will expect. And then when you receive those funds, you'll receive those funds directly from MGF, not by Engage to donate. And you'll receive those funds along with a statement that gives you details of that donation.
And those funds are remitted via direct deposit.
Correct.
And the last part of Maureen's question, Jim, is are you receiving for tax donations prior to the organization receiving the funds in 60 days?
I think we are, right, Joe? I mean, once the donation is made, the donor can go to that site, say the next day, and pull a receipt. So that that receipt, and if I'm sorry, it's been a while since I looked at the receipt itself. So correct me if anything's changed, Joe, but that receipt will be issued by MGF. It will show the donation made. And I think we list your organization as the intended beneficiary organization. So MGF technically is the beneficiary organization, but that receipt will also identify your organization as the party to whom MGF will send those funds. So your contact information, the data on the ultimate beneficiary organization is a part of that tax receipt, and it is issued, or it is available, I should say, following the successful donation. So in Canada, it's interesting. User behavior is really interesting. In the US, we don't see donors necessarily going to the receipt portal for their receipt anytime quickly. Partly due to tax laws and how tax laws now account for charitable donations. In Canada, we see donor behavior that, the donation is made and donors go almost immediately to the portal to pull their receipt. So it's a kind of a different experience, but it's certainly one that we want to encourage, that you want to encourage, because, it's also another medium to acquire data on the donor itself.
Right. We're almost out of time, but let's go look at a few marketing examples. It can be used for radio telethons or TV ads or Vans and buses have been wrapped. I've seen coasters at events. Here are some social media / print. The top left was at an Christmas fair. You can text in to make a donation. So top right is using our thermometer to kind of gauge how much is coming in from different campaigns. So it can be a social media, it can be a call to action. We have museums and gardens after a docent gives a tour saying, if you'd like to help us raise some money, take out your phone and text in XYZ. So it can be used at a library, at a charity event, anywhere you can imagine where passing the hat can make a difference. This is just Anna's just going to show you 5 seconds of kind of a fun little clip here. You may not be able to hear it, but these guys created this really fun campaign, Real Men Wear Pink. It became a social media little hit. And how can people donate? Text HOPE to 20222. It can't be any easier than that. All right, Anna, that wraps up the marketing piece. And I think that wraps up the most important slides. What final questions do you have before we break? Go ahead and let us know.
So if there's any charities interested in signing up, the process is, connecting with Dave and his team. They'll share application packets with you. And the good thing about some of the things that's changed over the years is that we can get campaigns live really quickly now. So as soon as if you guys decide to ever move forward with mobile giving, and partner up with us, we can have a campaign, up and running days after you submit the application packet and supporting materials.
Yeah, it's excellent. That's a big improvement from 10 years ago when it took some time, but now it's very fast. Oh yeah, let's talk pricing. There are some fees you would pay to us and some fees you pay to the Mobile Giving Foundation. Mobile Giving Foundation has some setup fees you see here. There's a $500 in total fee that is paid upon setting up, and then there's an annual fee. We typically include our thermometer and our text messaging and the mobile giving hosting fee that comes to $2,500. If you don't need texting, if you don't need it for a year, you don't need some of these features, the price goes down. So just email me. Anna's going to put up our email address. Just email me and you'll be able to, I can give you a quote. But if you're looking at kind of the full package, couple $100 a month for this service. And if you figure you're going to use a $25 donation point and you do recurring donations, monthly donations, your ROI on this is a fantastic ROI. Well, thank you, Joe and Jim. Anything final, Jim, you want to leave us with as we kind of think about should we add this as a channel?
Mobile is applicable to every organization, period. Mobile is just simply inherent to what, to good acquisition and engagement strategies. You may feel that mobile is something that's unfamiliar to you, but I really encourage you to develop a sense of comfort and strategic deployment to make sure that you're using this to meet your organizational objectives. This really is essential, and it's something that's really inescapable. Yep. I really appreciate talking with all of you today, and hope that you find a way to work with Dave and MGF.
Thanks so much. All right, everybody, we'll send you the slides and the recording tonight or tomorrow. And if anybody wants to follow up, I'm available. You can see my information here. And then if there are some technical things we need to get Joe on the call, we'll do that right away. But hopefully we can work with you this fall sometime. Thanks, everybody. And thank you, Joe and Jim.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, everybody.
All righty. Bye, everybody.